I'm Mason Mount. You're listening to the London is Blue podcast.
All right, and we are back, Chelsea fans, with our second question right here. So, Dan, the players reacted just like Lampard did, and there was nothing friendly about this match. We hinted on it a little bit in the first part. So I know I preached how I would have written this match off completely in turn for resting players and game management for Leicester, but clearly Lampard could give a shit less what I have to say. He didn't let that happen. They came out ready to go. You actually even tweeted, I believe, after the match, if you're not hyped for the potential this Chelsea side has after seeing the grit and determination they produced in over 120 minutes, check your pulse. That's right. Dan calling people out. I would like you to elaborate and respond to this tweet, Dan.
Look, I mean, yeah, it's going to be a roller coaster season. It's going to be one where we're going to lose some games in fine fashion. We're going to lose some games that we should win. We're going to win some games we shouldn't win. It's everything you expect from a side that right now is replacing extremely talented, more senior players with an injection of youth. You know, Christian Pulisic, brand new to the Premier League. Mason Mount and Tammy, brand new to the Premier League. You have Fikayo Tomori, if Christensen's injured and Rudiger isn't healthy yet, who's going to be getting a little trial by fire and baptism through playing against the lesser, against Jamie Vardy and Perez this weekend, if that's the case. So I just think with all of that, with what we saw, with what Frank was able to do, I mean, what you can't question at this point is the man management seems to be out of the park, out of this world, Nick, in terms of his ability to galvanize a squad. And that is something that we definitely did not have last season. We didn't have as other managers have soured previously. Already made hard decisions about Luis, has put himself in, really in maybe an uncomfortable spot, and is already making an impression on me. To say that, anyone who's questioning him is not being able to manage at this level, it's more about his resume and CV not matching up, not about what they're actually able to witness and what he's doing.
Yeah, exactly. Look, the reason I picked us sixth is because I wasn't sure if we were going to catch a lot of breaks this season. And I think, especially when you look at the Premier League last season, we caught a fair amount of breaks to finish third. If we're completely honest, the league is more competitive, and we are, as a team, Frank is growing a young group of really talented players, and sometimes that just takes time. Unfortunately, the Premier League does not offer you a bunch of time. So Dan's analysis, I think, is right, where there are going to be peaks and valleys this year. There are going to be, rough stretches where we're wondering about, players and whether or not they're improving in training. And there are going to be stretches where we're looking at Tammy Abraham, who's scoring 2 hat-tricks in a row, and wondering if he's the next coming of Didier Drogba. I think the thing that we should all try and do, and I know it's hard, and I'm going to fall victim to it as well, is just take all of this in stride and enjoy the moment. Frank Lampard is our manager. These players really seem to give a shit about Chelsea Football Club and want to win. And a bunch of these guys grew up in the club and have an extra dose of pride to be there. A guy like Kovacic, for example, wasn't wanted at Real Madrid, might not have been wanted at Chelsea, but has now kind of rediscovered himself. A guy like Christian Pulisic is, I think being judged up and down because people don't think he's very good or people think he's way too good. There are going to be a lot of these types of moments, and I think we just have to understand that it's going to happen this year, all in the effort so that the next year and the year after that and the 10 years after that are better. And sometimes you need to have these building block moments, Brandon. I don't know.
Again, the club, after Antonio Conte, went with Maurizio Sarri to do something different. Okay, well, Maurizio Sarri didn't work, so they went to Frank Lampard. They're trying something different. I mean, the club's not insane, right? Everyone likes to run the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. Chelsea do not do that. That is Arsenal, right? That's even a hint of Spurs. They will continue down that path and damn it, they will make it work. Nah, Chelsea, Roman, nah, next one. We're on. Let's try something else. And I think Chelsea been revolutionary with that mentality, with the loan army, what they've been doing at the youth academy, just sweeping up trophies and awards. And now we get it, Frank, because of extenuating circumstance, has to tap into those reserves. Look, there were some phenomenal performances today. So I want to go around and everyone can pick out a couple of people they thought stood out. Obviously, I will cherry pick Pulisic right away. I think he was universally loved on social media. His ability to get to the end line and put in a dangerous cross, his ability to make devastating runs in across the back shoulder of defenders. I mean, literally his goal that was called offsides is hairline. I mean, could have gone either way. And I think that was just showing his dynamism and his ability to create in very different ways. And I think that's exciting. That's good to see. So anyways, he was my easy pick, Dan, for a stand-up player. But what about you? Who were you really excited by, watching play against one of the best teams in the league?
So I thought when Mason came on with Tammy and he had that crack at goal, also had the disallowed one. Like he definitely put in a performance, and obviously there were some comments afterwards about his performance versus United. He was catching a little bit of flack. Lampard was upset with what Mourinho said about him, and he just came out and looked like the player that we've been excited about. Took a awesome penalty, just absolutely ice through his veins.
Cool.
That's ballsy, honestly.
Yeah, it was quite good to see. I think the other one who got slated a ton after the United match and really had a chance to acquit himself was Zouma. I think he looked a lot more comfortable in this match. Again, you're going up against any of the attackers in Liverpool who easily score 70-plus goals a season. That is a tall order, and he, along with Christensen, who also had a really strong game.
All right, short list of the year. My gosh, we're going to be at all 11 players soon.
It was a Herculean effort. I think no one was probably below a 7 in terms of player ratings, Nick. I mean, you could go off this whole list and pretty much be given 7s, 8s, 8.5s, 9s.
Pedro, not so much for me.
Maybe Azpilicueta, but maybe below a 7.
Yeah, so those two were not on my good list, but I was so impressed by our midfield three, you guys. We already waxed poetic about N'Golo Kante, but I thought Kovacic was a dynamo today. He was putting in tough tackles. He was dribbling past all of Liverpool's midfielders. He was special today, and I was really, really glad to see him take an opportunity. Who knows how many different formations he's going to be a part of this year, but I thought he really did well. Jorginho was iced today, man. He was fucking iced today. 2 penalties, both easy. Made a bunch of tackles, recovered the ball a lot. Wasn't always the best defensively, but I think moved the ball forward in their half a lot. And when we recovered the ball was immediately when when N'Golo would pass back to him, he was looking over the top or he was looking for Kovacic. And when you do that, you don't allow Liverpool to get set defensively. And we know that they're a little bit leaky in that way. So, I thought those guys, we've said it time and time again. If we win the midfield, we have a shot, and I think we won the midfield today. And Pulisic gave both Robertson and Gomez a ton of hell. Most people that I saw who are Liverpool fans have never seen Robertson play that bad. And by play that bad, it could also be that we played okay. It's funny the way that works. Yeah, no, we did.
Forced him to play uncomfortably.
And when Pedro and Pulisic switched, what was that, the 30-something minute, that, there was a significant, you could see there was doubt in his mind. He was yelling at his own teammates, and they were giving it to him back like, dude, you're struggling right now.
I remember Van Dijk was chewing him a bit too.
Yeah. So that was great. That was really great.
So, I mean, it's interesting you guys pull out, Jorginho, or Jorginho, poor Kit man. I actually DM'd one of them to see if I could figure out what the hell happened. Anyways, and then Zouma, right? And I think, not Jorginho, he played so many matches last season, but he was not rash in his defending today. He wasn't flying up behind people. And so I just wonder if there was maybe a little too much excitement in the Manchester United match, because you're actually playing a better team. We played better against a better team. And that could be the classic, you played at the level of your competition. But I also think that maybe there's some erratic behavior out of those guys in the first match. Maybe they got out of their system, and then they've settled. I remember my first season in college as the starter, I was just devastatingly nervous to a fault. My first match, we squeaked to 1-0. I had no confidence. I wasn't really talking. All these things that I'm usually really, really good at. The next day, deuces. Like I was a completely different player. I just had to get that one under my belt, which I know is weird because Jorginho and Zouma have a lot of matches played. I just wonder if it's new season, new manager, new formations, new this, new that, new teammates. They just needed that one to settle, and they're good. But that's just an alternative thought, because I tell you what, I was very timid my first match collegiately, and then just stepped up and was the leader that I normally am.
I think the one thing too is if we talk about maybe cameos, right? Because Fikayo Tomori came in for a very small cameo, but he looked sharp as well against top tier opposition. And again, like it's small minutes, it's a very tiny sample size, but he and Zouma looked very good together in their ability to control play, move the ball forward, and be part of the attack and defense. So I think credit to everyone who stepped on that pitch absolutely deserves a round of applause for what they did. And I think we're picking out pieces. I mean, Emerson was actually making tackles, which he doesn't do frequently, Nick. Like, he actually made sliding tackles, and everyone was just pouring in whatever they had in the tank.
I agree. Emerson looked great. Giroud was who I thought he is. I mean, he to me put in a performance today that, for me, if I'm Frank Lampard, is the type of performance I need my striker to make. It's not to say that Tammy was super poor at the weekend. I don't think that at all. But there is to me, when Tammy came on, there was a significant difference in the way the ball moved around, because he's not the hold-up type of striker that Giroud is. And Giroud allows other people to get forward into interchange and then gets into his own space. But what I saw from Giroud today was enough for me. I thought he played really well. The question is, can he do it in the league? And, frankly, we don't know that because he hasn't really done it. So there is a big question mark there. But, I mean, look, it's a hero's effort. Kepa played really well, too. I mean, he had an incredible save, goalkeepers union over there, not mentioning Kepa. And
status quo. Hero's job.
No, he
another
played
day.
Super well, man. And all of this matters. It all matters. It matters to see Kepa get up and roar and pump up his teammates after a really great save. It matters to see N'Golo Kante just out there nutmegging James Milner 4 or 5 times. It's wild, man. It's really great to see. And it all comes in a loss. There are no more victories, but boy, are we able to project how this potentially could look moving forward.
Yeah, and I think you can just tell the energy, right? And it's only been a few days, right? It's not like it's been, a string of results. It's really propelled us on to something big. No, not at all. The Manchester United wounds are still raw, but this is a huge step in the right direction. And the fact that we played a 4-3-3 and we pretty much never played a 4-3-3 except with our B team in preseason, I add another, tool to the kit, essentially.